Hey, what's up, everybody? Bitcoin has made it down to the 618 Fibonacci retracement level. So we've officially had a 618 retrace. Are we going to hold? That's the big thing. I mean, this is the last. I mean, really, this zone in here, we talked about being somewhere stalling out, right? Somewhere in this between the 50 and the 702. We want to see it slow down, right? So the good thing is we have a 4-hour 9 buy and it is perfected. We don't really have any bullish divergence anymore. But essentially what we have is hopefully a completed ABC, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC. And the C wave is on a 9. The C leg made it to the 618, right? And the C leg is also just about back testing these order blocks over here. So this is the reversal area. If we don't reverse out of here, it is not going to be good, especially for altcoins. I mean, you can see altcoins are getting hammered, right? I mean, let's look at THETA here. So THETA is also on a 4-hour 9 buy. It's definitely massively oversold. You can see just how crazy oversold it is. So, it still has that 3-wave shape, but it's not looking, this is do or die, essentially, right? If we break that low, then everything's going to change. Why? Because now you basically lost your ABC. For example, right, if I go up a little bit to the 6-hour, the whole idea here is that this is an impulse, which it is, right? And then we have 3, 3, and we have 5. So a 3, 3, 5 is an ABC, okay? So we have the ABC, and we have a 5-wave move coming off of that ABC, and we have an ABC pullback. So this is like the perfect thing. But it has to happen now. This is do or die. If we don't do this and we break that low, then now we don't have an ABC anymore. Now we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we have a 5-wave move down, what does that mean? That means we're trending down, and that means we would get a 3-wave pullback and then continue going down. Right? So this is really a concern here, right? And, if we get that 3-wave pullback, because again, like I said, we're at this inflection point, and we've been at that inflection point all through here, going back June, July, and August, because we're at the bottom of the C leg, right? We want to see a bottom get hashed out. Right? And why is this going on? Well, the stock market is in a little bit of a frenzy, right? You have tensions, right? War. You have the whole Middle East thing. And is that a scare event? Is that a fear event? Maybe. Is it real? Are they going to keep pushing? Like I've been saying, we're in election year. The deep state, they're going to stop at nothing to pull out all their events, all their distractions, right? Whether it be missiles or news events, whatever, they're trying their hardest to create chaos so that people focus on the chaos rather than, the actual system itself, right? This is a big moment here. Is this an ABC? Are we going to continue higher? Or is this a 5-wave move? We're going to get a 3-wave pullback and then continue lower. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, right? So this is a big problem here. And we're literally I mean, this is really too extended, right? What you want, you know, is something like this, and then ABC, right? Somewhere right around here, right around that first wave. But here's the first wave here, and we're way down here. We're literally a little teeny wick away from breaking the low. So that is definitely not good. Okay, just letting you know that. Now, for Bitcoin, everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything looks perfect, right? This is exactly what we wanted to see. Again, here's that first wave, 1, 2, and that's exactly where we are. And that was one of the things I talked about. I said, look, if Bitcoin is barely correcting and Theta's already down here, that means when Bitcoin gets down here, it's going to push Theta even further down, right? And not just Theta, but we look at ADA here. ADA is a little bit better. ADA has a little bit better of a look to it, right? It has, you know, this ABC, right? So we have, let's see, where are we with on the retracement here? We're approximate, yeah, we're right between the 618 and the 702. This is exactly where we want to reverse. We don't want it to go any lower, because when you get down lower, you're just threatening to have a disaster, right? Because again, if this breaks the low, then then you have 1, 2, right, 3, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this would be 1, 2. All of this is 3, 4, and then you get 5. So if this turns into a 5-wave leg, then you get a 3-wave pullback, and then you just continue down. So that's a big problem that could happen. And if that happens, then we're probably coming back to retest these lows down here, way down here, right around that 25-cent area, right? And if we come down here, right, we already bounced once, we bounced again, we came up. If we come down and bounce again, the more times you bounce, the weaker it gets, right? So, it's crypto. Things can change on a dime, right? I've always said, what a difference a day can make. So we're not sort of doomed, right? We still have a chance, but next week is going to be that pivotal moment, right? Do we get a bounce? Do we get a reversal out of here? Right? That's going to be the big thing. Now, when we look at XRP is nothing wrong with it. XRP looks perfect. I mean, usually XRP is the one down in the gutter. But now look at XRP. XRP is way up here, right? I mean, you have Bitcoin down here. You have Theta way down here, right? You have ADA about here. You have Bitcoin about here. But look at XRP. XRP is way up here. So it has plenty of wiggle room, right? This is a good thing, even if you don't like XRP. You want XRP to succeed in this case. Why? Because if XRP is still looking really bullish, then it gives hope for the rest of the market, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an A. We talked about this being a B, right? This was not a 5th wave. This was not a breakout. This was a corrective 3-wave shape. I know a lot of people were thinking it's going to continue higher, right? If you've been watching this channel, you know exactly my thoughts on that, right? And this looked like a flat. And right now it's still a flat. It's a perfect flat, right? You can see the price came exactly down to this point right here, right here. So right now, this is a perfected flat, right? If we go a little bit lower, that's fine. That'll turn into an expanded flat, right? So we're still beautifully holding up in XRP, which is a good thing, right? So we're barely at the 382. right? I mean, this thing can come even way further down and we would still be considered bullish, right? Because this is a pretty big impulse, right? We got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no overlapping like with theta and eta and V-chain, right? It's a straight impulse, A, three-way B, and C. So now, can we get a reversal out of here? That's going to be the big thing. And do we have 5 waves? That's going to be another big thing, right? And do we have divergence? Yeah, so we still have bullish divergence. It's looking good. Let's go up to the 2 hour. 2 hour, not so much. But let's see. Let me go down to the smaller time frame. We can see here we have a 1, 2. 1, 2. I would say, okay, so 1, 2, 3. I would say 4 and 5. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I remember now the diagonal, okay? And then we sort of, did we break the low here? Let's see. Yes, we did. We came down and we swept the low. All right, that's good. That's what you want to see. You want to, sweeping the low is good. It shows that momentum is slowing down, right? Because you can see here, big drop, and then the drop is getting a little bit smaller, a lot smaller, and really small. You can see it's waning down. That's exactly what we want to see. We want to see it waning down. Okay. So now what? Now what do we want? Well, we want 5. So let's say this is 1. We get 2. We come up in 3. We get 4, and we get 5. If we get that over the course of next week, oh man, that's going to be perfect. We get a 3-wave pullback. We got a wave 1. We got a wave 2. Let's go. And that would be a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. That's exactly what I want to see for XRP. If we can get that for XRP, it's going to really save crypto. Because crypto is not doing so good right now. It's just really not. So, yeah, it's not looking good at the moment. But things can change. I'm trying to see. Let's look at Solana here. I mean, Solana took a massive dump. I mean, look at that thing. It's just dumping. 1, 2. Looks like we have 1, 2. It looks like that's 3, 4, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks finished. It looks like it could be finished. So, yeah. So, the thing about Solana is just an ABC. Is that if that's a flat, then it ain't gonna be so good. But if this is a 1, 2, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, perfect. And now this has a 5-wave shape. So that tells me that's an A wave. So we're probably gonna come up in a B, and then come down and get C, and then hopefully be on our way here, right? That's what we want. And that would make kind of like a triple bottom here, definitely a bottoming process. So that's what we want to see for Solana. Just trying to see anything else. A lot of the charts are on a 4-hour 9, right? So a lot of them are on a 4-hour 9. This is good for trading. This is a good trading situation, right? So looking at others, like everything out, all the altcoins outside of the top 10, we got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we got an ABC. But man, that ABC is deep. It's much deeper than I'd like to see. But it could be a good reward, right? High risk, high reward. So how would I play this? How would I play this? Well, I'm going to tell you how I would play it. But I also want to let everybody know that there are the memberships are now active. So where the subscribe button is, you can click join, and I'll be doing from time to time member only videos and giving you a little bit more in depth about how I would play certain situations. So for example, this situation here, how would I play it? Well, if I'm trading this, obviously my stop loss would be here, right? So, the downside potential from where we are now is about 6.75%. Okay, so 6.75%. So I'm going to risk 6.75% in order to potentially gain 21%. So that's a good deal right there. So those are the types of setups that I like, right? Relatively low risk, right? Because obviously you want your stop loss. So if I put on the retracement, considering if this is the low, right, I would actually be targeting the 50, the 618, and the 702. So yeah, about 20% there. So again, risking about 7 to get 20. So 7, 14, 21. So that's a 3-to-1 risk ratio. That's not bad at all. But yeah, there's not much else to say here except that we were. Let's go to total 3 real quick here. Total 3. Okay. So with total 3, we were talking about obviously, more downside. Let me take this off. And let me just put the annotations on so we're aware. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have A, B, and C. So I know the degree is wrong, but just bear with me, okay? So obviously we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about that. The big thing is worrying about the C wave. Is the C wave finished? Well, we have a 1, 2. It looks like that's a 3. And I remember doing the video in here saying that looks like a 4. Right? And then now this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like the C is finished. I mean, really. So if people want to take a stab at, dollar cost averaging, I know I was dollar cost averaging in here. I was dollar cost averaging right in here. Right? So again, like I said, if you had $100, right, maybe put in $10. And then you get down a little bit more, $15. Now we're down here, maybe $30. Right? If we get a 5-wave move and a 3-wave pullback, now I'm putting like $40, $50, okay? So that's how I play things. And we'll get more into that as as things develop here. But this could really be a good area here for a reversal for total 3. But again, you have fear in the markets. Fear, right? The stock market, the war, and all that stuff. And they're pumping it into, the news networks, and people are panicking, right? We see articles. And what do I always say? The bad news comes where? At the bottom, right? So if we're getting a ton of bad news, I mean, just let's go back for a second here. Remember when Trump was speaking, it was right about here, right? And I said we probably got a little bit more push, but then I want to see it flag out in an ABC. Okay. We had a lot of good news, right? Perfect. Now we had an A wave. Okay, it's just a pullback. We're going higher. But that was actually just the B wave. And we talked about that too. Don't get trapped. And now we have this potential C leg here. By the way, this is This is my interpretation. This is not financial advice. I could be totally wrong. Always know that. Okay. So this C leg here, right? As we're going down, these are daily candles too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, there's just tons of daily candles in here going down, and each day it goes more and more. It puts more pressure on people, and you get more bad news, right? So now we have all the bad news coming in at the bottom here. Hopefully this is the bottom. So if this is a 5-leg move in a C wave, then we should be around the bottom. This should be the bottom. If it's not, then it's not the right count. Then that means the count is wrong, okay? And that means that this is not an A, B, C, right? But instead, probably a W, X, Y, X, and we still need Z, okay? And then we can go. That could still be a case here, right? So if we do take out this low, I know I said it's going to look really bad, with theta and everything else, but you're going to have a proper flag here, right? I mean, you're basically flagging out for the next move, right? This is a bull flag here. And sometimes bull flags can be 3, sometimes they can be 4, right? W, X, Y, X, Z, okay? So, but are we going to get that? It's kind of tough to say. I mean, we are moving down with more velocity than I would like. But what makes me bullish is that we're at the retracement levels, right? So if I put on the retracement here and I just go right about there, I mean, we're right at the 618 and the 702. We do not want to break below that 702, okay? We want to stay above it. And yeah, so we're right at the 618 and the 702, and we're getting, again, a lot of bad news here. So bad news likes to come in at bottoms, right? So, investors, they look past that and they go, you know what? I don't care about the bad news. I don't care if the price is dumping. I'm going to buy. And it's not supposed to feel good, right? Like if you go and say, okay, go on an exchange and buy crypto. It doesn't feel good. Why? Because you see all the fear in the market. You see the war, the bombs going. I don't follow all that because it's all noise to me, right? It's just deep state players wanting to get us into war. That's what it's about, right? It's all about creating conflict to get us into another war, another endless war, right? And that strengthens the dollar. It strengthens the military industrial complex. It strengthens the banks, but it kills us within more inflation. It basically gives the Fed an excuse to print. It just creates this whole vortex of lies and deceit, right? It's not a real authentic situation here. So I try not to pay attention to it, but it is happening here. And it's interesting that it's happening right at the bottom of this C leg, right? So again, this is do or die. Are we going to come up in 3 and continue down? Or are we going to have a diagonal, have an ABC, and continue up, right? Are we going to get a 5 wave and a 3 wave? Or are we just going to get a 3 wave? So whatever happens here, that's why you got to click subscribe, because I'm going to be following this, day by day here for the most part, right? So yeah, it's definitely an interesting time. So what am I doing personally? I'm adding to my position. I mean, we're at a technical level here, so there's no reason for me not to. Right? Now, when I push that buy button, does it feel good? No, it don't feel good. Why? Because my emotions are saying don't do it. My emotions are saying fear, right? Because just turn on the TV, look at the stock market, right? I think what was it, 2.3 trillion or something like that got wiped out from the stock market. A big massive dump, right? But with big massive dumps comes big massive opportunity, right? A big liquidations, right? It sort of resets the oscillators, it resets the market. The kind of bad news subsides, it kind of dies down a little bit, we get a rally. So I've been there many times, so I know how the game works. Now, what we don't know is, you know, when you turn on the TV Monday morning, what else is going to happen? Is there going to be another event, right? Is there going to be another bomb? Is there going to be something else, right? And the reason they would do that is to push the market down, to bring us into conflict, to create chaos. That's what they want to do. So we'll see how that plays out, right? So, you know, the technical indicators are saying, you know, we're really close to a bottom here. But if this is a third wave, then we should get a fourth wave, right? So no matter what, I think we're going to get a pullback to the upside. Now, if that pulls back in 3, then I'm going to say look out below. If it has a nice impulse off the bottom, right, a 5, then I'm going to say, hey, we got a good shot here, right? So how else could you play this? Well, don't buy anything. Don't do anything. Just wait. Right? Sometimes the best thing to do is not do nothing at all. So waiting, meaning, for example, let me zoom in. And let's say, you know, we play around here. We maybe we hit the low again. Maybe we hit the low again, right? We create some kind of maybe ending diagonal or something, right? Or you know, leading. So, you know, let's say, you know, for example, you do nothing, right? Let it play out. So if we come up and get 3, then maybe take a short, right? If we come up in 5, then just keep waiting. Don't do nothing, 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 right? Do nothing, I mean. And then, right, if we get that 5, then I would wait for the ABC, and that's where I would buy. You see what I mean? So you're actually buying kind of in the same spot, but you're letting the market play out so that we can see the structure. If we get this type of structure here, that's what I want to see, right? Because all that's going to tell me is we're going to go up. So that's what we want, right? Versus if we only get, again, if we come up here in 3 like this, some kind of 3-wave shape, and then we start impulsing back down, right? I mean, you can even enter here and put your stop loss just a little bit below, right? Let it play out, and then if it comes down, then you break even. At least you tried, right? You know, because if we get 3 and then we start getting 5, we're going to break this low. Then that could, it could mean a couple things. Number one, obviously, it could be a huge A wave, and I don't like it as an A wave, right? So an A wave meaning this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We come down here and get 5, and then we come up and get 3. Right, but I think it would be a big 3, and then we would kind of have maybe like a flat or some type of, you know, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast, or even a triangle, right? So A, B, C, D, E, you know, something like that. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. W, X, Y, X. So yeah, so a triangle can also appear in an X wave, right? So if this is an X, so W, X, Y, and this whole thing is an X, and then we get Z. I can see that happening, right? Basically a triangle here for wave X, and then we get wave Z, and then we go. Okay? So for me, This doesn't change my hodl position. It doesn't change my investment decision. Why? Because Trump is going to win. He's pro-crypto. Crypto is at the very, very, very beginning of the utility age, right? We don't even have regulations in place, right? We barely just got a Bitcoin ETF, barely just got an Ethereum ETF, right? We still got the election, right? Again, Trump, I believe, is going to win. He won last time, but they stole it. And I think all that evidence is going to come out as well. Yeah, day one, he's going to fire Gary Gensler, right? And then also this summer, we have what? The lawsuit, right? So Brad Garlinghouse said sometime this summer, we should get hopefully a resolution. Now, for whatever reason we don't get that resolution, it's going to happen at some point, either soon or even, in next year, right, with a new SEC chairman, right, we should get a better settlement deal. And if I'm Ripple, maybe I don't want to settle with the SEC. Maybe I want to wait until Trump gets in. That way he can appoint a more fair and honest chairman, right? And then I can sit down with that new team and have a settlement. That way Ripple can get a better deal. And all they would have to do is wait another 6 to 8, maybe up to 9 months, right? So that could happen as well. But here's the thing. None of that changes the long-term projection of what crypto is, okay? Because we're still, when we look at crypto, we're still only in a wave a 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And I think this is the beginning of wave 5. Now again, let me go to Bitcoin here. Wave 5 can be a couple different things, right? So let's just recap here with Bitcoin on the worst case scenario. So my idea has always been, since down here, right? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had divergence between the 4th and the 5th, basically saying this is the bottom and this is where I've been buying in here, right? We had the worst news, FTX, Three Arrows Capital, Celsius, all happening in here. And that's exactly where you would expect bad news to happen, is at the bottom, okay? And now we start to see it again, so it makes you wonder, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. So that's a 1, that's a 2. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a 3, and now we're getting 4. We're flagging out here, so maybe we got to flag out a little bit more and then come up and get 5. That's the main idea, and that's what I'm thinking here. Now, if that idea doesn't work out, then what else could it be, right? Because there's only so many things it could be. Well, then if that idea doesn't work out, then it could be that we're getting something like this, where we have a shoulder, we have a head, and now we're kind of working our way down into a shoulder before we break out. So basically coming down to 50K, like, we first thought, right? That was one of the first thoughts that we had here, is the potential for this to be A, B, C, and actually get us even lower. So the ABC actually getting us back down in here, right? 47 to 50K, right? And then we have that 5-wave impulse, and then we get the 3-wave pullback and then go. But that didn't happen, right? We stalled out here and we got this wave up. Now we're back down. So again, this doesn't change anything from the long-term picture here, right? Over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I'm very, very bullish, right? But at the same time, right, if this doesn't go into a 5th wave, then what could it be? This could be, because right now we only have 3, right? A, B, C. 5, 3, 5. All we have is 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is 3. What if this is 1, 2, 1, 2, and now we're about to just crash and burn into a 3. We get 4, and then we get 5. And then we start reaccumulation. So that would be the worst case scenario, would be a rise, crash, retrace, a fake retrace that took the high, then we go down into reaccumulation, then we go sideways, then we break out sometime in 2026, right? Or even 2025, maybe the end of 2025, I should say. Okay, so similar to how that happened over here. Same thing, right? Meaning we had what? We had a rise, crash, retrace, we went down into reaccumulation, and then you can see we went sideways in here, sideways, we had a liquidity grab, and then that led to the new bull run. So rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. So if that could happen again, right? And it really comes down to what happens over the next really maybe 3 to 4 weeks here, even as far as next week, right? Because we really want this to be a wave 1 and a wave 2, right? Either we're going to get a 5th wave, and we'll know too. It's not like we have to know right now, right? We have to let it play out a little bit. For example, right, if this pulls back into 3 and then we have another wave down, then it drastically increases the probabilities, right? Because this could still be an ABC, or it could be an ABC flat, right? I would say over the next couple of weeks we're gonna know our answer, and that's the big thing, right? Because everybody's trying to figure out, are we gonna break this, right? Are we gonna break this to the upside, or are we gonna break it to the downside? Technically, the probabilities favor the upside. But if chaos, fake news, fear-mongering, it could push it to the downside. And that's manipulation, right? We just got to stay on guard, right? But that doesn't mean I'm panicking. That doesn't mean I'm selling. That doesn't mean I'm capitulating. That just means I got to wait longer. And that's okay, right? Because at the end of the day, crypto is the only solution you have and I have to become something bigger than ourselves, right? And really, that has to do with, how, really the time you have left on this planet. And if crypto can give us more time and freedom, then hey, I'm going to go with that, right? So regardless of how long it takes, if it takes 2 years, if it takes 1 year, if it happens in the next 6 months, right? Maybe it takes another 5 years. Whatever the case may be, my money has nothing better to do, because what other options are there? You have the stock market. Yeah, right. I'm not going to do that. It's way overvalued, right? It's a fake market, and you're buying certificates, you're buying paper, right? At least with crypto, you're actually holding the actual crypto on a wallet, right, where you hold the private keys, right? I mean, you can buy gold. That's another thing you can do, right? You could buy silver, right? But really, where else could you put your money? I mean, there's certain government things you can do to earn interest on your money, right? But that's peanuts compared to what crypto can ultimately provide, right? So nothing's changed, right? This is not to come out and give people a lot of fear, but I'm just saying there's definitely a little bit of a reason to be concerned here if this doesn't pull out. Now for Bitcoin, it looks perfect, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got an ABC. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and C, right? We're right at the 618. I mean, it looks textbook. I mean, this is exactly what you want to see, right? And to go long, right? To dollar cost average, right here would be a perfect spot. And we still have a little bit more wiggle room down here at 58K. So we got plenty of wiggle room, But we did say, we could come back down to 60 here. So, it still looks really, really good. The only issue I have is when I look at things like THETA, it's pushing it to the limit. Like, you really don't want it to go any lower. I mean, you're literally so close, right? The bottom here is $1.14, and that's $1.17. I mean, man, that is insanely close. That means we are literally, 2.5% away from just getting destroyed to the downside. Okay, so that's why Bitcoin definitely needs to retrace. We need to get as far away as possible from this bottom. We need to get away, right? And we have a three-wave shape. We have 5 in the third, right? We have 1, 2. I mean, everything's clicking here. So it's up to the crypto gods to get us out of here, right? So I'm saying, there's a very good chance the bottom is in, and there's a very good chance that we're retracing. But again, it's not financial advice. I could be wrong. Always know that. The only thing that's rubbing me the wrong way is how fast this came down. But that's normal, right? C waves come down quickly. But then also how close we are to the bottom. But that's also normal too. In some circumstances, wave 2s often can retrace 90% of wave 1. Right? Because if you look at let's see here. Yeah, so we're right at that 886. We went past it. So we're right at that 90%. I mean, that's the maximum a wave 2 can go, is really that 90%. Otherwise, it'd just be a double bottom, right? So, that's what kind of gives me a little bit of pause, right? I mean, we're so close. And then another thing too is what's going on in the mainstream media. As far as election year, we got cyber attacks, terrorist attacks, the whole thing with Israel, and all that drama that is just a freaking cancer to our planet, right? And I'm not saying any country or specific thing. I'm just saying the whole thing in general is just ridiculous, right? That's why we really need to get rid of this president and get an actual president that will bring peace and to quit these endless wars, right? So I believe that will definitely happen soon. The fate of our country really depends on it. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Crypto really knows how to bring you to the edge of your seat and just make things go unbelievable, right? I mean, let's see here, like VeChain as well, right? Getting way far down here. I mean, we have that sort of ABC, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like we have an ABC here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, right? And we're right here, right at this order block. So this is the spot where you want to pull out of here, right? So, I mean, this is it right here. So this is do or die, essentially. So again, what am I doing? I'm buying. I'm taking a chance. I'm taking a risk, right? And my risk is relatively low, right? Like, for example, with Filecoin, if I entered here, somewhere in here, I put my stop loss here, and you're not so far away. But if this is a 5-wave and a 3-wave pullback, then your upside is much, much, much bigger. So I'm risking this much to gain potentially a lot, right? Especially if we go into that third wave. And with a third wave comes, before that massive third wave can happen, you need a flush out. You need sort of everybody to get flushed out, and you need liquidations. You need a lot of fear, right? Why is that? Because they don't want you winning, right? They want you pushed out of the market, and they want you full of fear. But we're not gonna fall for that, right? And even if it does turn out to be, continue down, then oh well, I'm gonna hodl through that. I'm not saying that's good for you, right? I'm not saying that's what's best for everybody, but for me, I know how they play, and a lot of times, like, just go back over here to COVID, right? So if we go back to COVID, what did they do here? We were going up in this wave, right? What did they do? So we had this sort of 5-wave move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perfect, right? And then we had sort of this move down, right? And it kind of didn't really look like a 5-wave move, but then we got that, right? So then maybe you could say A, B, C, but it didn't really look so good, right? Or it could be A, B, and then we get C. So then we shot up, it got everybody bullish like it did just a couple weeks ago, and then what did they do? They completely crushed it to the low, and they took out the low with a big liquidity grab, causing massive amounts of fear. And then only then, that's when they decided to take it up, right? So if we kind of translate that to here, you can see, right? This was the big move. This was that first wave, right? A, B, C. The correction's done. We got that big impulse to the upside. But then everybody's bullish. You have a lot of good news, right? Trump, Bitcoin in Nashville. You have the Ethereum ETFs launching. A lot of good news, right? And then what do they do? You have to, but what did we say, right? We basically an ABC. We want to see it, right? We had that move up. We want to see it flag out. Now, I would have liked to see the flag be a little bit more proportional. It looks a little bit scary, right? I mean, that looks a little scary, right? And then also you have the news on top of it, right? With what's going on in the media. So, just like with COVID, they could essentially, drive people out of the market here, right? Now, if they want to push it even lower and take out the low and have a big dump, big liquidation, taking out the low, 5-wave move gone, boom, everything's wiped out. And that's when they decide to take it up, right? That could totally happen. And then what would that be? That would be right here. That would be WXYXZ. Okay? So, yeah, I mean, again, if that's some kind of COVID style where it flushes everybody out, pushes out people out of the market, right? And that's what they want. They want to shake out all the weak hands, the shakeout before the breakout. I'm not saying that's going to happen. It could be done now. It could be because I've said, look, if they're going to throw in shenanigans, right, what could they do, right? Because right now it's a basic shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got an ABC. It looks too good. It looks too perfect. So if they make it difficult, they can take it up, right, and then bring it back down and flush everybody out, then take it back up. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just saying that's how they like to play a lot of times before a big move. So hopefully that's not the case. But even if it is the case, whatever, right? You can't get mad over things we can't control. We cannot control the price. When you get on a roller coaster, it's going to go regardless, right? I mean, you just can't control it. So you just got to wait for the ride to be over, okay? So, but again, when you have a lot of fear and uncertainty consumed by the mainstream media, it's important to just ignore it, but then also recognize, why are you here in the first place? Why did you buy crypto in the first place? Oh, I bought it because I wanted to make money. Well, why? Because inflation is killing me. Because groceries are expensive. Rent is expensive. I want to buy a new house. I want to buy a new car. I want to pay off this. I want to do this, right? There's a lot of reasons why. But what's the main reason? Because we don't live in a people system. We live in a central banking fiat currency system that prints money out of thin air. They loan it to the government with interest attached. Then we, the taxpayer, have to pay it back plus interest. What sort of rigged deal is that, right? So along comes Bitcoin back in 08, 09, right? And it changed the world. Now it's the 9th biggest asset in the world. All thanks to what? Blockchain technology, right? And the innovation behind decentralization, decentralized finance, even AI, payments like XRP, internet, right? Even like THETA. So an abundance of new technologies comes out. So that's when you really have to rely on what? Your understanding of what you hold. So forget the chart, right? What do you hold? You hold an anti-debt instrument. And that's what I always say is bet against the debt, become your own central bank, buy gold, silver, crypto, and hodl. Don't worry about the price in the short term, because again, we're in election year. We live in a deep state system. They're going to throw it up, they're going to throw it down, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they're going to cause war, they're going to cause chaos, they're going to cause fear. The only way they can control you is through fear, right? They want people in fear. So, but ultimately they really don't have any control, right? Again, it's an election year, so who knows what they're going to do. But whatever they do is whatever they do. We can't control it. But one thing is for sure, I'm not going to sell my crypto just because a bunch of psychopaths are creating a bunch of conflict, right? Now, stock market, different story, right? Stock market can fall a lot, right? Because it's pretty high up. But, you know, my main bag is XRP and THETA. And when we look at XRP, it has been essentially in a massive support area. I mean, look at all of the support here. Tons of it, right? I mean, you have a lot of support. I mean, we've been going sideways for 6.5 years. Even when we look at THETA real quick, right? We're back down at the back test zone. We've been here back testing, right? So, you know, for me, crypto is at a relatively low risk point. Now, when you look at Bitcoin, right, Bitcoin's way up here. So it's a little bit different. But, you know, THETA, Filecoin, ADA, Matic, I mean, they're all relatively low. They're really at their base, right? THETA Fuel at the base. So I don't mind accumulating because I know eventually it's going to work out, right? And we got less than 100 days before Trump wins. And I don't know about you, but the time's going to pass by regardless if we're in crypto or out of crypto. So why am I saying all this? Because I know a lot of people are probably experiencing some doubt, some uncertainty. I can see it in the comments, not necessarily the comments in my videos, but like certain tweets, certain posts, certain things, right? So anyways, by the way, somebody got into my whole Facebook is gone, right? So I used to post on there. I don't really even go on there much, but somebody you know, got into it, and I can't access my Facebook. I put my phone number, doesn't recognize it. Put my email, doesn't recognize it. I went onto my wife's phone, and I'm not even on her friends list. Like, it just vanished, right? So it's very strange. So if anyone has information on that, I'd like to know. So you don't know about, you know, when you go public, like what I'm doing, making videos, having my name out there, right? You become a target, and you know, that's just the way it goes. But I don't mind being a target. Just it just sucks when you have a lot of family photos, videos, and stuff that you uploaded, right? And all of it just gets erased. That bothers me. But you know, it is what it is. So just so people know. Anything else I can say about the current state of crypto? Not really much, except the weekly candle is horrible. So this brings me to the worst thing that I'm about to say, is the weekly candle. The weekly candle is about to close tomorrow, and if it closes below $1.25, then that means we're gonna have another weekly low, right? We do not want it to close below here. Now, wicking above it is fine. We really need the price to make a miraculous recovery sometime very soon, right? Because if we close below, then it basically opens the door for another candle to trade below that candle. And if that happens, then we're going to be threatening this low here. So if we break this low between, you know, 93 and $1, then that would just totally screw up the whole 1-2-1-2, really, because you got a 1-2-1-2. So we really need to hash out a bottom in here and continue pumping to the upside, right? So if we do break the low and then we come up in 3, that could be a time, like if you're gonna sell and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna get out and I'm just gonna wait. How I would play it is I would wait until it breaks the low, and then I would wait for a retracement, and then I would get out here, and then I would let it play out to see what it does, right? If it starts to flag out and look kind of bullish, maybe I could re-enter, right? But anyway, that's another reason why you should hit that subscribe button, and we'll get into all of that when the time comes. But right now, let me look here at the 20-minute chart. Is this a bottom? Hopefully it is, right? One, 2. That looks like 3, 4, and then 5. And then in 5 we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in here, this could be maybe one more low. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So yeah, we're really close. I mean, we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed that we get a bullish week. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. I will catch you guys on the next one.